Welcome to the Rewriting Naruto series part 48. This is a series of videos where I rewrite Naruto, making changes to improve the story for my personal taste. Please guys, like this video, it takes 2 seconds and it really helps me out and helps the series. If you enjoy the rewrites, help spread the word around. I don't know if I have to beg you or whatever, I just want you to like the video, okay? And also subscribe if you haven't. Now let's get going. Rock Lee and Neji attacked Sasuke. Lee threw a combo of quick punches and hard kicks as Neji unleashed a flurry of swift, gentle fist strikes. Sasuke's Sharingan darted from side to side, following the duo's movements. His hands were fast and efficient. He blocked the strikes and redirected Lee's and Neji's momentum to disrupt their combinations. His taijutsu, I can see some traces of my own technique in it, but it's very elegant and much more efficient than mine. He doesn't waste a single move. Thanks to the Sharingan, he can read our attacks and decide on a perfect reaction, Lee thought. But his combos with Neji were also ferocious. The years they spent together going on missions and fighting alongside each other created an almost telepathic bond between the two. When Lee attacked, Neji covered his blind spots, blocking Sasuke's counterattacks, letting Lee commit fully to his strikes. Together, they managed to stalemate Sasuke in a taijutsu bout. Using their teamwork to compensate for Sasuke's amazing speed, they were actually doing quite well. Should I use the gates? If I do, Sasuke would probably retreat. They were just buying time until Kakashi-sensei and Naruto's team arrive. The gates would work better if I had more backup if things go wrong, so I'll only activate them once Sasuke forces me to, or whenever reinforcements arrive. Leave Hurricane Barrage! Lee threw a sequence of 7 continuous spinning kicks, forcing Sasuke to move back and dodge with precision. Neji used bursts of chakra he emitted from his arms to block Sasuke's taijutsu counters as Lee exposed his guard to launch such an elaborate taijutsu sequence. With the last kick, Lee passed over Sasuke, who dug down and landed on the other side. That was what they meant to do all along. Change positions and attack Sasuke from opposite directions. By doing so, Sasuke wouldn't be able to look at both of them with a Sharingan at the same time. Lee and Neji attacked simultaneously. Lee coming from behind with a punch, and Neji coming from the front with a palm strike. But Sasuke spun, becoming a blur, and he caught both Lee's and Neji's wrists with great finesse. Neji, however, directed his restrained palm to the ground, and at the same time, Lee threw a low kick to Sasuke's feet, which made Sasuke look down to dodge as he held their wrists in place. At that moment, Neji released an air palm gust out of his hand, hitting the ground and lifting up dust to hit Sasuke's face and eyes, because he had to look down to avoid Lee's kick. Sasuke winced and closed his Sharingan. Their combination utilized Sasuke's most dangerous ability, and they took that chance. Neji released chakra out of his wrist, burning Sasuke's palm that clutched him and forced him to let go. Sasuke dashed back, trying to leave the danger zone, but Lee predicted that. He landed a kick on Sasuke's back, launching him away. Sasuke landed on his feet, but lacked elegance, and opened his eyes. Tears from the dust made his eyesight blurry. Lee and Neji rushed at him. They wouldn't let up. "You'll pay for what you did to Tenten!" Lee shouted, unleashing another taijutsu barrage. Lee! Snap out of it! Neji ran after Lee, and Sasuke followed him closely, observing with his Sharingan. Rock Lee was fighting the air, screaming attacks as if he was fighting the real Sasuke. I didn't even notice when Sasuke cast the genjutsu on Lee, but I have to break him out of it. Still, he's just toying with us. He didn't even try to attack. But if he doesn't do anything, maybe he'll give us enough time for Kakashi and Naruto's team to arrive. Neji unleashed an air palm towards Lee. It would hurt, but it would break him out of the genjutsu. However, Sasuke spat a fireball which intercepted the air palm gust, exploding in midair before it could hit Lee and wake him out of the genjutsu. And Lee was gaining speed. He traveled through the forest and was getting further and further away from them as his illusory fight intensified. Neji unleashed an air palm barrage, but Sasuke weaved one-handed signs, launching fireballs to intercept them all, causing a cacophony of explosions in the forest. But Lee was still under the illusion. What are you doing? Neji demanded from Sasuke. Gauging the strength of your eyes. I don't know if you remember, but the first time we fought, you said the Sharingan was just a cheap copy of the Byakugan and a pathetic dojutsu. Sasuke's face was serene, as if he was explaining something rather simple to a toddler. Just go away! You already did enough to Tenten! No, we're fighting. Since I lost to you before, this will be a good measure as to how much I evolved. He's blocking my air palms with his fireball, so I'll have to get something more solid and forceful to wake Lee out of the genjutsu from a distance. Damn it, this will really hurt, but it's the only way. Gentle fist. Coalescence. Neji shot a coalesced chakra spike out of his finger, but Sasuke ignited his index finger into lightning and shot a Chidori needle at him that intercepted the coalescence and destroyed it. We'll be here all day if you want to snap him out of the genjutsu like that. My ninjutsu supersede yours in several orders of magnitude. If you know how much stronger than me you are, why do you need to measure how much you've evolved? Sasuke smirked and opened his hands in admittance. Alright, I'll admit, I just hate losing. Call me petty, but I want to beat you both and prove that I am stronger. You're so juvenile. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. You're such a bad loser who can't let anything go. This fight is futile. It doesn't even matter. It's worthless. A waste of time. There's no such a thing as a bad loser. For being a good loser only means you're complacent with your own defeat and weakness. Embracing and accepting them as part of you is the most deplorable thing one can do. So, if that means to be a good loser, I am indeed a terrible one. You arrogant bastard. Humility is a shinobi virtue. Spare me. Weren't you the one saying the Hyugas were the strongest in the Leaf Village? My so-called arrogance only bothers you because I am indeed strong and I can back it up. That's not arrogance, that's self-awareness. You Hyugas, on the other hand, are just delusional and always have been. You know nothing about this world. You know nothing about my clan. Actually, I do. I also know history quite well. You should learn it too. It will give you an indication as to how our confrontation will end. What do you mean? So you've never heard of the great Hyuga clan humiliation when one single Uchiha wiped out an army of Hyugas? That never happened. See? You erase your own failures not by overcoming them, but by accepting them, pretending they never existed, like a good loser would. And for what? To remain on top of the castle of cards you built upon self-indulgent pride? Guess what? Once a single card crumples, everything unravels, for there's not an ounce of true strength in it. And you'll be the one pulling the first card? Sasuke appeared in front of Neji. His speed was immense. Sure, why not? He said, with an infuriatingly serene face. Neji unleashed his gentle fist palms, but Sasuke blocked and dodged, throwing counterattacks. The two exchanged taijutsu blows until Sasuke kicked Neji's guard, pushing him away as his feet dragged on the ground. If you're so much stronger, why don't you release Lee from the genjutsu and fight against the two of us together? Wow, I didn't expect the mighty Hyuga to grovel. I'm taking on the two of you alone, and naturally, I'm leaving the main course for last. You're just the appetizer. So you're saying Lee is stronger than me? Vastly. I have a very good eye for judging other people's strength. He doesn't acquiesce to his weakness. You, on the other hand, smell like it. So be proud. You're a great loser. Your eyes radiate meekness. Don't underestimate the Byakugan. My eyes can see through yours! Neji screamed in anger, but Sasuke cackled as another Sasuke appeared from behind Neji, pulling his sword millimeters away from Neji's throat. What are you even talking about? You've been under my genjutsu since the start of the fight. Neji's Byakugan bulged out in shock. He used his Hyuga chakra control and stopped his chakra flow for a moment, dispelling the genjutsu. The Sasuke in front of him turned into white snakes, as the one behind him holding the sword still remained. For such a powerful eye, you're pretty terrible. terrible at seeing through genjutsu, I must say. Then again, you're not the first Hyuga who's fallen for my Sharingan's illusions. I didn't notice him casting the genjutsu myself either. Maybe he did it even before he hit Tenten. Neji thought as his rage began to boil within. How could a Sharingan be so powerful? How could it eclipse the Byakugan like that? Neji had to focus. He needed to stall Sasuke. But that wasn't Sasuke's idea though. As he motioned to cut Neji's throat with a blade, Neji emitted chakra out of the Tenketsu on his neck, blocking the sword, and then emitted chakra from his back, hitting Sasuke and pushing him backwards. Neji swirled around, gathering chakra in the palm and swung at Sasuke. Let's see if your eyes can see through that! Before Neji hit Sasuke, however, the Uchiha became large white snakes that wrapped themselves around Neji's body, immobilizing him. What? Another genjutsu? It was a double-layered one! He fooled me again! Neji concentrated once more and dispelled the second genjutsu. The snakes strapping him vanished, and Sasuke appeared to Neji's view, sitting on a tall tree branch above Neji with a disdainful and relaxed posture. What was that you were saying about the Byakugan? Be quiet. Oh, my apologies. I just thought you would revise your views about the Hyuga clan being the strongest of the leaf. At least the Hyuga clan is still a clan. Sasuke narrowed his eyes. Neji regretted saying that immediately after it came out of his mouth. Soon enough, I'll be the last surviving Uchiha. And even in that state, the Uchiha clan will be superior to the Hyuga. I could squash every single one of you all at once, and I'll show you. Sasuke vanished from the tree branch and appeared 5 meters behind Neji. With his Byakugan, Neji could see Lee fighting an invisible enemy almost 2 kilometers away. He was alone. Don't worry, I won't use genjutsu anymore. That'll be too boring. And I won't kill you either. But this will not be pleasant for you. Fight however you want, but you already made your first mistake, which will be your last. You're within the range of my trigrams, Neji said, assuming the trigram stance. He envisioned the yin-yang Hyuga trigram coordinates around himself and Sasuke. Your arrogance will be your undoing. 32 trigrams, 256 palms! Neji rushed at Sasuke with the tip of his fingers glowing bright with chakra. Suigetsu raised his sword, standing in front of Karin, Sakura, and Dogman. Jugo looked at him with bulging eyes. Die! He created 4 flash cannons on his arms and aimed them at the unlikely Leaf-Heavy alliance. Chakra beams shot from the cannons, ionizing the air around them. Suigetsu weaved hand signs. Water style! Great water wall! He spat a massive volume of water that coalesced into a water wall. The chakra beams clashed against it with a powerful blast and began to vaporize the water, carving into it. Suigetsu kept on spitting a continuous amount of water to keep the barrier up, but Jugo's cannons would overwhelm it in a few seconds. From behind Suigetsu, Karin sent several chains from her body into the ground and commanded them to travel towards Jugo's location. I'll restrain him. You have to attack Jugo with all you have and knock him unconscious, do you understand? Karin told Sakura and Kiba. Suigetsu shot a glance at Karin, urging her to be quick about her chains, for his barrier wouldn't withstand for much longer. I know, Suigetsu, I'm hurrying it. Jugo laughed as it was about to destroy the barrier and kill them all. But Karin's chains emerged from the ground all around him and wrapped themselves around his towering body, bringing his arms down and diverting the chakra beams away from the party. Sakura jumped into action, infusing her fists with chakra, and Suigetsu molded his water wall into several tentacles that also wrapped themselves around Jugo, strengthening Karin's bind. Stay down! Sakura screamed, swinging a punch to Jugo's face, but a shield made out of curse mark flash formed itself around it. Sakura's punch impacted, creating a shockwave and exploding the shield into blood, but Jugo wasn't knocked down. How dare you! He screamed as several spikes of flash erupted out of his body, molded from Jugo's unique curse mark abilities, and destroyed Suigetsu's tentacles and Karin's chains. Sakura weaved a sign, casting a genjutsu on Jugo that made him see an illusion of Sakura that would punch him in the guts. He formed an axe head on his forearm to intercept and cut Sakura, but the real Sakura jumped up as Jugo swung at nothing. Sakura landed a chakra-enhanced punch on Jugo's unprotected face, and this time, he was sent flying. Suigetsu jumped, raising his executioner's blade up high to strike Jugo once he landed, but Jugo landed on his feet, now free of the genjutsu. He parried Suigetsu's sword attack with his X-arm. Kiba and Akamaru dashed towards him as well, followed by Sakura. Akamaru, mark him! Akamaru barked in affirmation. Jugo used his propulsion cannons to enhance the speed of his axe slashes. He clashed them against Suigetsu's blade in a fast last exchange. This time I'll kill you, Suigetsu. This time you'll die. All of you. You'll show me your guts. Sakura weaved signs, casting another genjutsu. It made Hyuga miss Suigetsu, who in turn slashed at Hyuga across the chest, drawing blood and breaking the genjutsu. Kiba and Akamaru activated their fang over fang and spun, as Sakura engaged Hyuga in close quarters as well. Hyuga created small flash cannons all over his body and began to shoot indiscriminately to all directions, hitting and exploding houses and other buildings in the city. One of the beams crossed through Suigetsu's stomach, which turned himself into water and quickly remade itself. Kiba and Akamaru struck him a few times with their fang over fang, but the jutsu simply lacked the power to damage Hyuga, whose speed was now increased, allowing him to parry Suigetsu's sword strikes. His axe protrusions were enough to parry the blade, and he also created flash shields around his body to block Sakura's attacks. You're all pathetic weaklings! Hyuga intercepted Kiba and his fang over fang, stopping the rotation with a massive boost-enhanced punch, which made Kiba fly dozens of meters away, spitting blood. He felt his ribs crack, and his mind became dizzy. That punch rocked his world. He would die if he hit a house head first, but Karin caught him with her chains before he crashed on anything. Hyuga blocked a kick from Sakura with a shield he created on his back, and he turned the shield into a cannon, which shot a massive chakra beam at her in point-blank range, exploding Sakura away. The pain was immeasurable. She flew as wisps of chakra surrounded her wrecked body. Karin also caught her with her chains. Quick, you two, bite me before you die, Karin told Sakura and Kiba, who were barely conscious. They did so, and Karin recovered their wounds. Thanks, Sakura said, looking at Suigetsu, who engaged Hyuga with his sword. They exchanged powerful strikes, and Hyuga blasted Suigetsu with his cannons. However, Suigetsu ignored him, as the sections of his body that were destroyed by the chakra blasts were just reformed quickly after. How long can he keep on doing that? Sakura asked. I don't know, but not forever. I'm out of chakra. Can you give me some? I'm running low too. If I replenish yours, I won't be able to heal anymore. Damn it. I almost died to a single punch. If that punch hit me in the head, I was done for, Kiba said, clutching his fists. We need a plan, Karin said. We have one, Kiba said as Akamaru appeared from a destroyed building after Hyuga pushed him in. He used Suigetsu's sword motion as a distraction and expelled urine against Hyuga's eyes. Hyuga screamed in agony. God! I'll kill you, bastards! Not able to see, he missed his parries against Suigetsu and took more slashes, creating a shield around his neck and head, but his torso was deeply cut several times. Dozens of cannons emerged from all around his body, and he once again shot chakra to all directions, not caring about anything that he hit. One of those strikes disintegrated Suigetsu, but once he reformed, he took that chance to regroup as Hyuga was swinging his chakra arms and beams wildly all around him, causing terrible collateral damage on the city. The party hid themselves in the ruins of a destroyed house, and Akamaru regrouped with them as well. We should run away. We can't beat him the way he is right now. Hyuga's too strong. The angrier he gets, the more chakra his curse mark draws, and the crazier and stronger he becomes, Karin said. If this fight continue like this, he'll level the whole city, Suigetsu said. At least the whole place was evacuated, so nobody will get hurt. But we can't let him run away. If he runs loose, he'll definitely find and kill countless innocents, Sakura said. Karin winced, wanting to flee, but Suigetsu stared at her with menacing eyes, dissuading her immediately. The problem is that my water style is weak against his curse mark attacks and defense, and also my sword can't do much damage against his curse mark enhanced skin and defenses. Even when I cut him, his curse mark can regrow the slash area and it's completely ineffective, so I probably can't knock the dude down. Suigetsu looked at Hyuga in the distance and noticed that the slashes he took from his blade were now closed by a layer of rugged curse mark flesh. I'm out of chakra, so I cannot cast genjutsu or amplify my attacks, Sakura said. My chains can probably restrain him for a while, but I'm also running low. I should save whatever I have for healing. Kiba smirked. Well, then I guess it's up to me to stop that demon. Worry not, for Akamaru and I will deal with the beast. Suigetsu's face dropped. Dogman, your attacks were by far the least effective. Hey, I told you you haven't seen all my jutsus yet. I'll bring him down. How? Don't worry. Akamaru marked him. He cannot escape us now, Kiba said, waving the shadow clone hand sign and producing one clone. One clone? What do you think one miserable clone can do, Dogman? Just you watch. The city's already destroyed anyway, so this jutsu won't be that much of a problem anymore. What are you gonna do, Kiba? He's right. It's just one clone, Sakura said, alarmed, as Kiba and his clone jumped on top of Akamaru, waving a sign. I can triple my strength by adding one head. Come on, Akamaru. Inuzuka style. Man-beast transformation combo. A great white cloud of smoke erupted around them, unveiling a gigantic creature. Three-headed wolf! The great white wolf towered over them amidst the wreckage, making himself visible to Jugo, who locked eyes with the three heads. They displayed large, sharp fangs, the size of a person, and dripped thick strings of viscous saliva, one of which fell on top of Karin's head. Ah, that's disgusting! Suigetsu smiled. Damn! Now that's a jutsu, dog man! You'll see! No one's ever beaten me in this state! One of the heads said with a monstrous voice. Jugo opened a maniacal smile. The bigger the mid-bag, the bigger the guts! Neji's gentle fist flew at Sasuke. He empowered his 256 palms with a fury stoking within from what Sasuke did to Tenten. The 256 palms worked in a sequence of flurries that increased in speed and quantity of strikes, all directed to the Tenketsu chakra points of the enemy. The first sequence was 2 strikes, then 4, then 8, and they continued to double until 256. Sasuke effortlessly dodged the first sequence of 2 palms. The same thing happened with 4 and 8 palms. Sasuke simply moved out of the way, predicting Neji's movements. He had to increase his speed even more than normal. 16 palms! No good. Sasuke dodged them all. He won't dodge the next one. 32 palms! Neji's arms became a blur from the sheer speed, but Sasuke's crimson eyes flickered from side to side, following his movements perfectly, and his body also became a blur, avoiding the 32 palms. Neji winced in frustration. 64 palms! He unleashed a flurry, but every time he thought his palms would connect to Sasuke, he moved out of the way using an elegant and precise taijutsu motion. Impossible! He dodged all 64 of them! Sweat dripped from Neji's face as he put all his power and speed into the attacks. More speed than he ever thought possible. 128 palms! Neji's attacks created a powerful and continuous gust of wind. Sasuke dodged blow after blow, but Neji felt he was getting closer. It was much more difficult to dodge so many attacks in a sequence like that without giving ground and maintaining himself within taijutsu range. 256 palms! Neji became impossibly fast. Sasuke was now forced to block with his own arms whenever he wouldn't dodge a strike. Sasuke struck Neji's wrists with his own, so Neji wouldn't strike his chakra points. Whenever the speed of Neji's fists overwhelmed the speed in which Sasuke could dodge, but Neji emitted chakra from his wrists in order to attack Sasuke's wrists when he blocked. This prompted Sasuke to emit lightning from his own wrists to counteract the chakra. Their wrists sparked with small explosions of chakra and lightning as they clashed dozens of times per second, sending a constant wave of chakra and lightning outwards. Neji finished the 256 palm sequence, which was the fastest he had ever thrown, and yet he didn't hit Sasuke once. His calm expression contrasted Neji's frown, covered in sweat, and Sasuke smirked. Taijutsu of that level doesn't work on me. He threw a kick to Neji's stomach. His leg moved so fast that Neji could barely see it, but he managed to emit chakra from his stomach to absorb the attack. Sasuke, however, changed the direction of his kick as it was about to hit, using a feint strike, and he impacted Neji's mouth with the sole of his shoe. Neji tasted blood and was launched a few meters away by the force of the impact. He stood up quickly, growling in frustration, but Sasuke didn't follow up with any other strikes. Neji spat blood on the ground and looked at Sasuke. The rage boiling in his eyes made a sharp contrast to the coldness in Sasuke's. Your jutsus are too predictable. Once you know what to expect, you're not dangerous. You lack variety and you lack intensity. I can see your anger, but you cannot turn that into power because you're a good loser, just like your entire clan. Didn't your father offer himself as a sheep for slaughter to save his brother, then literally enslaved your part of the family? Why didn't he just let his brother die so that you could be free? A very good loser he was, accepting his status of inferiority, giving up and dying, leaving his son behind to remain enslaved. Don't say a word about my father! The anger in your eyes, it's enough for me. Be quiet! My father was a hero of the Leaf Village! And they even brainwashed you into believing his choice was wise. A clanless brat like you would never understand. Perhaps not, but my eyes can see beyond the surface. You're angry at yourself. Your eyes cannot see through mine. This anger is for what you did to Tenten! No. You couldn't care less about that. I care about her. Sure, I guess, but it's not as though she's dead. What you really care about is that my words ring true. Deep down, you know you're complacent to your own weakness. I know how that feels. The powerlessness is overwhelming, but you only leave that pathetic state once you turn that anger into real power. Neji scowled. He didn't want to admit it, but Sasuke was right. He was angry at himself. He had been angry for a long time now. Furious, even. He cursed his own weakness and lack of initiative. Ever since Neji could remember, he fantasized about becoming the leader of the Hyuga clan. That was simply impossible, but kids had delusional dreams like that. He wanted nothing more than to free his dad, himself, and the entire Hyuga branch family from their imprisonment, to somehow undo the sealing that bound them to the main family. But those were just far-fetched dreams. They have always been just that. He never told his dad or anyone about them, fearing the repercussions from the main family because of the power they had over them. But then his father died, giving himself up and dying in Hiyashi's place, so that the man that put them in that terrible situation could still live. Neji blamed the main family, the ones that forced him into that, to give his own life in exchange for the men who hated him. After that, he made an inner vow to destroy the main family, to wipe them out. Even if the forehead sealing killed Neji in the process, he would become strong enough to free them through violence. That was no longer a fantasy. It was a goal Neji knew he would never accomplish, but still he trained hard to attain it. A useless goal that bound his destiny forever to suffering and to the main family's curse. It all changed after the Chunin Exams and his fight against Naruto, and how Naruto opened Neji's eyes to the world, how he changed Neji's perspective. Naruto may have received a terrible curse from the day he was born, just like Neji, but he wasn't bound to that curse, and he proved Neji wrong in their fight, using the 9 tails to defeat him. Unlike Neji, who shaped his entire life around destiny he predicted for himself, the destiny to be in the branch family forever, bound to the main family, Naruto broke free of that curse and mastered it, using it to his own advantage, defeating the great prodigy. Surprisingly, it was on that same day that Hiyashi told Neji the truth about his father, that he wasn't ordered to sacrifice himself for Hiyashi, but he chose to do that regardless. He chose to die a free man. Neji was in shock. He thought he understood his father's actions. His father yearned for freedom, so he wanted to die a free man. But death is not freedom. Neji understood that now. It was just another form of imprisonment. Sure, his father's sacrifice was noble, but sacrificing himself would just perpetuate the cycle of bondage between the main and branch families. Things could have changed if Hiyashi had died, but his father went along with it nonetheless. Hiyashi even kneeled to Neji, apologizing for what happened to Hisashi, something he had never expected from Hiyashi, but that was just an act. Neji could see it now. Hiyashi simply used the lesson Naruto taught Neji that day. He used Naruto's worldview and Naruto's genuine wish to change Neji in order to manipulate him, to make him docile. Neji's life did improve a lot after the exams. Hiyashi started to treat him better. He even laxed some of the rules regarding the branch family and even trained Neji himself. So as time went on, Neji forgot about the hatred he harbored for the main family, believing his father sacrificed himself to make himself a free man. And the dream Neji had to rule the Hyuga clan and free the branch family became just a distant childish memory. Neji was naive. Even though Hiyashi wasn't acting so harshly to the branch family, he had been mistreating Hinata all along, covering up his wife's death and committing all sorts of terrible crimes. Acting less harshly towards the branch family was just a way to make sure no one would rebel against him and uncover what he had been doing. And Neji's shocking realization that nothing had changed came when Hinata used the Hyuga seal to torture and incapacitate him in the land of whirlpools. The main family still had total power over them. That stunned him, but also made him reflect upon his reality, and those feelings of anger towards the main family, never truly dead, resurfaced. Hinata, who was such a nice girl, who never wanted to harm anyone, and a girl who Neji grew to love as his own sister, transformed into a monster under Hiyashi's rule. Neji had hoped that once Hinata inherited the clan, she would do something about the branch family situation, but clearly that was impossible now that she became a root Anbu ninja. So his fantasy of becoming the leader of the clan and freeing the branch family had to return. Albeit, now that Neji was older, he understood even better matter how futile it was. It would be easier for Lee to master all 5 nature transformations than for him to become the Hyuga clan leader. He had a seal on his forehead, and even though Neji believed he could make his own destiny as Naruto taught him, some things were just not feasible, no matter how much you willed them. But then, of course, on a random night, Naruto strolled into the Hyuga clan complex, challenged Hiashi to a Take Shijo, unveiled all of his deepest, darkest secrets in front of the whole clan, killed Hiashi in cold blood, did not elaborate, and left. On that night, a vortex of powerful emotions overtook Neji. He was glad Hiashi was dead, especially after everything he learned about the man that night. He was angry for not realizing the terrible things Hiashi had done and how he manipulated Neji into complacency, but he was also jealous of Naruto. That guy casually did something Neji thought impossible with barely any chakra. If Neji had believed in himself, if he had been a bad loser, perhaps Hiashi wouldn't have committed half of those atrocities. Perhaps Hinata would still be that sweet, innocent girl. Sasuke was right. The Hyuga clan was weak. They never sought to evolve. They always sat on their Byakugan throne, thinking they were on the top of the world, but that throne was rotten. It was built upon bondage. And on that night, Naruto showed Neji once again that impossible things can actually happen. Neji used to think that Naruto's dream of becoming Hokage was even more preposterous than his own dream of becoming the leader of the Hyuga clan. But now, if Neji were to bet, he would bet that Naruto would become Hokage one day. So why couldn't he become the Hyuga leader as well? I'm sorry, Dad. This path of mine would probably disappoint you, but I've made my choice, and I can finally see with these eyes of mine. It was not of my own merit, for those two took me to that conclusion, but it's the right one nonetheless. They say I'm a genius, but those two have something in them that makes them far more special than me. But through them, I finally managed to see. I finally got to this conclusion. You were never free, Dad. Hiashi manipulated you so much that you thought you were flying outside of a cage, but it was just a much bigger one. One you couldn't see the bars. But once I become the Hyuga clan leader, I will destroy those bars and finally achieve true freedom for us, Neji thought, smiling. You realized something, Sasuke said. Yeah, I have to thank you, and especially Naruto for that. Really? Yeah, you were right. I was angry at myself, but I understand what I have to do now. I see. Then we don't have anything else to fight over. Stay here. I'll go fight Lee now. He turned his back to Neji. What? If you conceded to my words, then I won the fight, Sasuke said, walking away. No, we're still gonna fight. Neji assumed an aggressive stance. Sasuke turned around with a puzzled and annoyed face. If you think you understand things better and still think you can beat me in any way, then I am afraid you understand even less now. I don't think I can win. Actually, I cannot win at all. At least not as I am right now. Then why fight me? To take the beating of my life. To never forget what it feels like to lose this bad. Are you a masochist? No, I just decided to become a bad loser. Sasuke's mouth curled into a satisfied smile. The gray three-headed wolf erupted into motion. Rotating fang! The fusion of human and dog spun into the form of a massive disc that darted towards Jugo. He shot a chakra beam at it, but Kiba simply powered through. The intensity of the spin cut the beam in half, sending the beams to opposite directions, exploding in different sections of the city. Jugo jumped away to avoid the flying disc, but it changed trajectories mid-air, cutting taller buildings in half as it passed through them, chasing Jugo, who was forced to create a large flash shield. He blocked the spinning disc with it, but Kiba kept on pushing, increasing his rotation power, drawing blood out of Jugo's shield and pushing him back. His feet created crevices on the ground, but cannons emerged from Jugo's back and pointed at the spinning disc. They shot, but Kiba stopped spinning and swung his massive wolf body above Jugo, avoiding the beams. One of the heads bit Jugo's entire body, sinking its massive fangs on him and tossed him against a building before Jugo could unleash his cannons inside of the maw. Jugo impacted the building building and demolished it with the power of the throw. Kiba then used his regular cylindrical fang or fang rotation and darted towards Jugo, hitting him. Jugo stood up. The curse mark flash grew to cover his wounds. He aimed a beam at the spinning massive wolf, but Kiba dodged them and hit Jugo again, dragging him through the wreckage. A chakra beam finally hit Kiba, making him spit blood, but he changed directions and hit Jugo from a different vector. Jugo was sent flying, landing on another section of the city. A faint yelp came from his left, and Jugo saw an old woman trapped in the middle of the wreckage of her own house, probably caused by one of Jugo's rogue chakra beams. She hadn't evacuated the city in time. Jugo laughed and pointed the cannon at the old lady. Time to die! Oh, please! The chakra blast erupted out of Jugo's cannon, but the great wolf curved itself around the old lady, protecting her from the blast. That took a price, however. The impact of the beam carved a massive wound on the side of the hound. Really? Are you really that stupid? You lost on purpose, just as I was enjoying killing you slowly? No one's dying. Not under my watch. The wolf puffed into smoke as Kiba and Akamaru fell unconscious next to the lady. They were bleeding severely. Brainless idiot! Jugo's irrational anger boiled within, fueling the power of the curse mark as he saw the uselessness of Kiba's sacrifice. Jugo's body grew in size and his muscles bulged out as the chakra of the curse mark intensified and grew in volume. It doesn't matter! I'll kill you slowly and I'll savor every sensation! A barrage of water bullets hit Jugo from behind. I'm here, Jugo! Come kill me, little prick! Suigetsu said, shooting the water gun as he ran towards Jugo. The water bullets, however, had become useless. It didn't even dent Jugo's skin. What the hell? I've never seen him like that. He's like 3 meters tall. And for a second I thought Dogman had him. Karin and Sakura came running from behind Suigetsu. He's way too powerful. I've never seen a curse mark user draw that much chakra before, Karin said with a terrified face. Water style! Water bomb shockwave! Suigetsu spat a water bullet, a massive one this time. But Jugo simply stood there with a smile on his face as the attack exploded on Jugo's chest, now devoid of any clothing. He took no damage. Really? That was it? Suigetsu reached Jugo and slashed with his sword, but Jugo once again didn't bother dodging. The executioner's blade hit the clavicle, digging a puny centimeter into the bone. Karin jumped over them, landing next to Kiba and Akamaru, and administered regular healing ninjutsu to stabilize them. The old lady looked shocked and paralyzed with fear. Jugo punched Suigetsu, disintegrating him, but Sakura passed in between the droplets of water and hit straight at Jugo's chest. He didn't move whatsoever. She punched again and again and again, landing dozens of attacks. But instead of damaging Jugo, Sakura damaged herself, breaking her hands, and her knuckles bled. It was as though she punched a house-sized block of steel, for Jugo remained there, unmovable. He had an evil smile on his face. Suigetsu slashed from behind, hitting the back of Jugo's neck. The sword drew only a single drop of blood. Karin looked at that. She was terrified. They were done for. With that level of chakra powering Jugo, there was nothing they could do, and Jugo wouldn't stop until he killed everyone he could see in the most cruel way imaginable. Karin ran out of chakra, recovering Kiba and Akamaru. They were still unconscious but stable. Still, because they couldn't bite her, she had to use conventional healing, which was far more inefficient. Jugo grabbed Sakura by the neck and spun her, hitting Suigetsu with her. Suigetsu squirted a layer of water around himself to cushion the impact, but Sakura still felt her bones shattering as she was used as a bat to explode Suigetsu into water. Karin tossed kunais at Jugo, which hit him but did nothing, as if they had struck concrete. You wanna play too? Jugo tossed Sakura at Karin like a piece of meat, and Karin caught Sakura, but she still hit her head against a wrecked wall because of the momentum and spat blood, and also felt a jagged piece of wood from the wreckage piercing her thigh. Don't worry, I'll make it extremely painful. I can't move, neither can Sakura. She looked at the pink-haired girl who was barely conscious. Don't touch Karin! Suigetsu screamed and slashed from behind, but Jugo spun around and caught the blade with his oversized hands. He forced the metal and shattered the executioner's blade in half as if he was breaking a dry twig. He cut Suigetsu's hand with a pointy haft of the sword, which he held in one of his hands, disarming Suigetsu, and tossed both pieces of the blade away. Stop, Jugo! Come to your senses, man, please! Suigetsu tried to plead with him, but he was useless. The curse mark mark's influence was far too overwhelming. Curse mark flash grew on Jugo's hands, creating massive, elongated hands, larger than a person, and he clasped them around Suigetsu, trapping him inside, and squeezed them tight. He squeezed them so tight, Suigetsu's body exploded into water and got compressed down as Jugo tightened his hands with amazing force. You cannot escape now, can ya? Boosters manifested themselves around Jugo's hands, not to blast chakra outwards, but rather inwards, where he restrained Suigetsu. Die! The cannons erupted, releasing an insane amount of chakra that hit Suigetsu inside of the watertight hands, as if Jugo was cooking him in an oven of death. There was nothing Suigetsu could do. Jugo shut his hands too tight. Suigetsu's hydrification jutsu wouldn't be able to pass through the gaps, and he was blasting chakra onto Suigetsu from every side. No! Suigetsu! Karin looked at Jugo, who opened his hands, releasing a blob of gelatin-like water that vaguely resembled Suigetsu's shape. He moaned. He was still alive, and Karin had to save him. She focused, gathering chakra from who knows where, and emitted a thin adamantine chain out of her heart tenketsu. The chain left the middle of her chest, wrapped itself around Suigetsu, and pulled him towards her as Jugo swung a punch down, crushing his fists against the ground where Suigetsu stood before. Alright, what now? You saved him, but what now? You're all dead anyway! Sakura tried to stand up, but she fell to her knees. Kiba and Akamaru were unconscious, and Suigetsu was jello. The old lady fainted from her fear. Jugo's bloodlust drew even more cursed chakra, making him even bigger and stronger. The sheer volume of chakra and the sinister nature of it paralyzed Karin with fear. She fell to her knees. It was over. I'll make this a special one, and I'll kill you all at once. A dozen large flash cannons emerged from Jugo's back and pointed to the defeated group, charging up a devastating blast. Suigetsu stood up. Karin couldn't believe her own eyes. Even though his body trembled and was reduced to gelatin, he stood there, powering through the pain and desperation. But to what end? There was nothing he could do anymore. Stay behind me. I'll protect you. His voice was weak. Willpower alone moved him. The will to save them. To save Karin, the woman he had been trying to kill a few minutes ago because she was trying to kill somebody else and Suigetsu was protecting her. Tears flowed down Karin's eyes. She felt sorry for Suigetsu. He was a good guy, but this was the end. It's okay, Suigetsu. It's over. You don't have to push yourself anymore. No, Kai. I'll save you. Kai? I'm Karin. Oh, yeah. For a second, I thought. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Suigetsu cried, standing in front of Karin to protect her from the blast as the chakra charged up in Jugo's cannons. Suigetsu, what you told me before when we were fighting, was that true? Yeah, that was the first time I was honest with you. I'm sorry. But why didn't you tell me earlier? Because I'm a coward. Jugo's cannons erupted into blinding light and unleashed the chakra blast towards them. It exploded, reducing half of the city to ash. Neji discharged a barrage of gentle fist strikes at Sasuke, who moved backwards, dodging and blocking Neji with his wrists. Sharingan versus Byakugan, a battle of prodigies. Sasuke weaved one-handed seals, igniting a Chidori, and he swung towards Neji, who commanded chakra to erupt from every part of his body and spun with tremendous speed, forming a powerful rotation. The Chidori impacted the spinning chakra, and a shockwave blasted out of it, made of chakra and lightning. Sasuke pushed his lightning hand, digging into the rotation. The chakra scraping against the Chidori created an amplified thousand bird sound. Sasuke kept pushing, but Neji increased his rotation speed, overwhelming Sasuke's jutsu. The rotation exploded on Sasuke's face, sending him flying through the forest. Now's my chance, Lee thought, jumping out of the bushes he had been hiding. Great Leaf Hurricane! Lee spun in the air, kicking Sasuke with amazing force and catching him from behind as he darted through the air because of Neji's rotation. Lee's kick sent Sasuke flying at the opposite direction. The Uchiha spat blood, impacting and breaking the side of a small rocky hill in the forest. You really thought that punch you hit me with would take me out of commission? Think again, Lee said, smiling, and landed close to Sasuke. We got him, Neji. Nice job. But Neji didn't reply. Lee looked around and didn't see his friend. He wasn't there anymore. He also wasn't where he used the rotation against Sasuke. Neji? Neji, where are you? Sasuke, who was half embedded on the rock wall, smirked and spoke calmly as if he hadn't just just taken a massive kick to his spine. You should take a look behind yourself, Rock Lee. Lee turned around and gasped. Sasuke stood there, casually holding Neji up by his long hair with one hand, as if he had just caught a disappointingly small fish. Neji's face was popped open. He lost his headband and white Konoha cloak, and the dozens of cuts and gashes on his face gushed out blood all over him. Sections of his facial skin were missing, making Neji almost unrecognizable. His minced meat face and bloody ragged clothes struck a great contrast to Sasuke, who didn't have a single scratch on him. Sasuke's face was serene, but the weirdest thing was that even in that terrible state, even through the amazing pain, and even though Neji was barely conscious, he smiled as Sasuke held him by the hair. What did you do to Neji? Isn't it obvious? Let him go! Don't worry, I stopped punching before he was gonna die. Lee growled in anger. I thought he was gonna be a complete disappointment, but actually, he did better than I expected. Sasuke said, tossing Neji by the hair to Lee, who caught his friend. People are not potato sacks for you to throw them like that! Sure, though they can be quite fragile, just like potatoes. Put Neji in that small alcove over there. We wouldn't want him to take collateral damage from our fight, right? So you still want to fight? Why? To get my rematch, obviously. That doesn't matter. Our fight was long ago. Come on, Lee. Your philosophy says that hard work beats natural talent, doesn't it? You told me that all those years ago as you humiliated me. And you didn't accept your own weakness. You're a bad loser, Rock Lee. Just like me. You don't know anything about my struggle? Perhaps. So let's put that philosophy to the test, shall we? Lee put Neji gently in the hidden stone alcove. Lee, I can finally see. Neji whispered with a weak voice. He was probably hallucinating. Lee couldn't let Sasuke get away with this. He would learn that messing with his friends was a great mistake. Lee stood up and looked at Sasuke's feet just like Gai Sensei taught him to fight against the Sharingan. Neji's wounds, they were all taijutsu related. Sasuke beat Neji in the least optimal way, and he beat Neji badly. I was stupid thinking I could fight against him without the gates. I'll have to go all out. I cannot let him use that genjutsu again. I didn't even notice when he cast it, but I didn't even look into his eyes at all. Lee then remembered the reports. Sasuke had the ability to cast genjutsu by pointing his finger at the target. Let me give you a piece of advice when you fight against me. You should always have your gates activated. The pain they inflict on your body would break you out of my genjutsu pretty much instantly. The strategy you're using of just looking at my feet would work against lesser Uchiha, but it won't work against me. I don't want your advice. We're from two separate worlds, Sasuke Uchiha, and just like before, my world will prevail. 8 inner gates. 6th gate. The gate of view! Open! A shockwave erupted from Lee's body. His skin turned crimson instantly and green chakra leaked out of him, cracking the ground around Lee and lifting pebbles with the sheer pressure of Lee's physical strength. Straight to the 6th gate. Good. Maybe this will even be interesting. Don't mock me, Sasuke Uchiha! Lee exploded into motion, dashing at Sasuke, destroying the ground beneath him with a ridiculous amount of power of his gates, ready to unleash the full might of his youth. Watch part 49 right here, and please don't forget to like and subscribe. These two things really help me. Let's, I don't know, get 4,000 likes in this video. Ring those notifications so you always know when the rewrites come out. And also, if you want to check out the artists that drew art for this episode, they're linked in the description. Comment below what you thought about the episode, and thank you so much for watching.